Section 1. The education of a distributor. The beer roots of South Carolina. We often look for a single dramatic moment that defines a person's success. For Jude Reyes, the story doesn't begin in a boardroom or on a trading floor. It begins on the humid roads of South Carolina. It begins with the simple, repetitive, and profoundly educational work of distributing beer. He and his brother, J. Christopher Reyes, purchased a small Schlitz beer distributorship in Spartanburg. This was not a glamorous venture. It was a business of logistics, of relationships, of understanding the rhythm of a local economy. Every case of beer loaded onto a truck, every delivery route meticulously planned, every handshake with a store owner. This was their apprenticeship. Section 2. The ladder of opportunity, from beer to broader horizons. The progression from a local beer distributorship to a national powerhouse was not a leap. It was a climb. Each step was deliberate, calculated, and built upon the last. After mastering the South Carolina market, Jude Reyes and his brother began to look for the next rung on the ladder. They understood that the principles they had perfected, operational efficiency, route optimization, customer reliability, were not unique to beer. They were transferable. The opportunity came in the form of other distributorships. They began acquiring smaller, often family-run beverage distributors, first in the surrounding region, then further afield. Their expansion into Chicago was a pivotal moment. Moving from smaller southern markets to one of America's largest metros was a test of scalability. They acquired the Chicago Beverage Systems distributorship in 1979. This wasn't just a bigger version of what they were doing before. It was an entirely new level of complexity. Yet, the core principles held true. They became masters of the roll-up strategy, acquiring multiple small companies within the same industry and consolidating them into a single, larger, and more efficient entity. Section 3. The Reyes Playbook. A strategy of scale and precision. At the heart of the Reyes Empire is a simple but powerful playbook. It is a strategy built on two complementary pillars: achieving massive scale, maintaining meticulous precision. Visual Hook Supplier Factory, Reyes Distribution Center, fleet of trucks, grocery store or restaurant. Jude Reyes understood early on that in the distribution business, volume is king. The margins on any single case of beer are razor thin. The margins on any single box of food are razor thin. The only way to generate significant profit is to move an immense quantity of product. This understanding drove the relentless pursuit of growth and acquisition. By becoming the largest player in their markets, they could unlock economies of scale unavailable to smaller competitors. They could negotiate better prices from suppliers. They could invest in more sophisticated technology. They could operate their vast logistics networks with unparalleled efficiency. However, scale without precision is just chaos. This is the second and perhaps more critical part of the Reyes playbook. While the company grew to an enormous size, the focus on the small details never wavered. This is where technology and systemization became crucial. They invested heavily in state-of-the-art warehousing. They invested in real-time inventory tracking. They invested in advanced route planning software. A driver for Reyes Holdings doesn't just follow a list of stops. Their route is optimized by an algorithm to minimize mileage, fuel consumption, and delivery time. Every product in their massive warehouses is tracked from the moment it arrives to the moment it's delivered, ensuring minimal waste, maximum efficiency. Jude Reyes' journey to becoming a billionaire was not the result of a single lucky break, not a hit product, or a soaring stock. His fortune is an architectural marvel, constructed piece by piece over decades of steady, methodical work. The primary engine of his wealth creation has been the reinvestment of profits back into the core business. In the early days, the money earned from their South Carolina distributorship was not taken out for personal luxury. It was used to buy another distributorship. The profits from those two were then used to buy more. This is the classic principle of compounding, applied not to the stock market but to trucks, warehouses, and inventory. Each successful acquisition generated more cash flow, which in turn funded even larger acquisitions. The private nature of Reyes Holdings was a critical element in this strategy. As a privately held company, it was not beholden to the short-term demands of public shareholders or the quarterly reporting cycle of Wall Street. This gave Jude and his brother the freedom to play the long game. They could make significant multi-year investments in technology, infrastructure, and acquisitions without needing to justify every decision to outside analysts. Furthermore, the diversification of the business played a crucial role. While the empire started with beer, Jude Reyes expanded into food service distribution for global brands like McDonald's, becoming a critical link in the supply chain. They also expanded into Coca-Cola bottling and distribution. If Jude Reyes were to offer financial advice, it would likely be grounded in the same practical, no-nonsense principles he used to build his business. The first and most important rule would be to master your craft. Financial success is not an abstract goal. It is the byproduct of being exceptionally good at something of value. For Reyes, that was distribution. He didn't start by chasing wealth. He started by chasing excellence in his chosen field. The advice would be to focus on developing a valuable skill or building a solid business first. Understand your industry, your customers, your operations inside and out. True, sustainable wealth comes from creating real value, not from financial engineering or speculation. A second rule would be to live below your means and reinvest the difference. Show growth cycle diagram. This is the law of compounding in its purest form. The Reyes brothers' story is a testament to this principle. In the early years, every dollar of profit was seen as seed corn for the next season's crop, not as a reward to be consumed. This discipline is what separates builders from earners. The practical advice is simple. Automate your savings and investments. Treat the portion of your income that you reinvest as a non-negotiable expense, just like rent or a utility bill. Reinvesting in your own business, buying assets, contributing to a retirement account. The habit of consistently putting capital to work is the most powerful wealth-building tool available. The third rule would be to understand the power of patience and the danger of debt. The modern Reyes Holdings is a sprawling, diversified kingdom, though its various territories are all united by the common language of logistics and distribution. The empire is organized into a few major divisions, each a titan. The first and most famous is Reyes Beverage Group. The legacy business, scaled to an unimaginable degree. The largest beer distributor in the United States. Molson Coors, Constellation Brands, Heineken. Vast network of warehouses, a fleet of thousands of trucks, serving territory from California to the East Coast, the foundation upon which everything else was built. The second major pillar is the Martin Brower Company. Reyes' strategy: leverage core competency into a new sector. Martin Brower, a global food service distribution leader. Primary client, McDonald's, in dozens of countries around the world. When a McDonald's needs burger patties, fries, soda syrup, a Martin Brower truck delivers with Reyes-level precision. Major corporations trust Reyes to manage complex, time-sensitive supply chains. A third powerful division is Reyes Coca-Cola Bottling. From distributing to manufacturing and distributing. Major independent bottler for Coca-Cola. Producing and distributing across the American Midwest and the West Coast, Chicago, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. Vertical integration gives more control over the supply chain and captures more value. A natural extension, manufacturing plus world-class distribution, supported by other ventures, including a real estate company managing warehouses and industrial properties. This diversification is strategic. In the end, the story of Jude Reyes is the story of an outlier. But he is not an outlier in the way we often imagine. Not a Silicon Valley wunderkind or a Wall Street prodigy. His path is an outlier because of its simplicity, its discipline, and its relentless focus on the fundamentals. In an age that celebrates disruption and rapid innovation, Reyes built a multi-billion-dollar fortune by perfecting something ancient, the process of moving goods from one place to another. The first lesson he offers is a powerful counter-narrative. You do not need to invent something new to be wildly successful. You can also achieve greatness by taking something old and doing it better, more efficiently, and on a larger scale than anyone has ever done before. The second lesson is the quiet power of compounding. Jude Reyes' empire was not built overnight. It was assembled over 40 years of patient, incremental progress. Every year, the business got a little bigger, a little more efficient, and a little more profitable. Those small gains, reinvested year after year, compounded into an enterprise of staggering size and value. The third lesson is about the separation of strategy from ego. The Reyes playbook is not glamorous. It is about logistics, route optimization, and warehouse management. It is a business of details, of processes, and of systems. Jude Reyes and his brother found their competitive advantage in the unglamorous operational side of the business. They understood that true, defensible value is often created in the boring details. The lesson is to find your advantage where others are not looking, to fall in love with the process, not just the outcome, and to build a system that is so efficient and reliable that it becomes a fortress.